She strode into the interview poised, equipped, and thoroughly prepared, yet their glances suggested she was out of place. Unbeknownst to them, her spouse had recently acquired the firm, and he was observing every move. At 38, Laura Mitchell carried herself with grace, boasting a robust career in brand strategy and more composure than executives earning triple her pay. She rarely doubted herself, but that morning, as she parked her silver Honda in the downtown Dallas garage, her hands lingered briefly on the wheel. Laura gazed ahead, took a steadying breath, then collected her leather portfolio, adjusted her charcoal blazer, and entered the elevator. Her heels echoed with assurance. Her resume was impeccable. Her references stellar. This interview at Harper Stone Associates wasn't just a job. It was her shot to reclaim her path after a 20-month hiatus to care for her mother. Laura was primed to dive back in, and she wasn't here to play small. The elevator dinged, and she stepped out, ready to seize her moment. The lobby was polished but sterile. White walls, stark lighting, abstract art that felt empty. At the reception desk sat a young woman with a sleek bun, her eyes scanning Laura like she didn't fit. "Good morning," Laura said warmly. "I'm here for the 10 a.m. with Sarah Hensley." The receptionist paused, almost thrown by her friendliness, then typed briefly. "Laura Mitchell?" A faint hesitation, then she murmured into the phone. Her gaze fixed on Laura, voice low, as if sharing a secret. After a quick call, the receptionist offered a tight smile. "Someone will be out soon," she said. Laura nodded, settling onto a sleek bench by the glass wall. Her watch read 9:51. She was early, as always. The lobby was quiet, no candidates, no staff bustling. Just cold air and silence. 5 minutes dragged by, then 10. At 10:06, a lanky man in a navy suit emerged from a frosted hallway. His eyes skipped over her initially, then widened slightly, like he'd expected someone else. "Laura Mitchell?" he asked. She stood, smiling. "I'm Ethan Walsh, marketing director. I'll join Sarah today." No handshake, just a nod toward the hallway. Laura followed, noting his brisk pace and the faint squeak of his shoes on the tile. No small talk, no pleasantries. In the meeting room, Sarah Hensley sat, laptop open, glasses low on her nose. She didn't rise. "Let's begin," she said curtly, her tone flat. The room felt like a pressure cooker, and Laura sensed something was off. The questions hit fast, but not the kind Laura anticipated. "Is this the role you meant to apply for? How much do you know about client-tech interfaces? Have you worked in a firm this large?" The 2-year gap in her resume drew a pointed look. Each question carried a skeptical edge, almost mocking. When Laura mentioned leading global campaigns, Sarah's eyebrow arched. "Global? Where exactly?" "Tokyo, London, Sao Paulo," Laura replied evenly. Sarah's was dismissive, and the air grew heavier with doubt. After 12 minutes, Ethan shut his notebook. "There's been a mix-up," he said. "This role was filled internally yesterday. Sorry for the trouble." Before Laura could respond, Sarah added, "We'll keep your info on file." They stood, no handshake, just a gesture toward the door. Laura walked back to the lobby, the receptionist now engrossed in her phone, avoiding eye contact. The elevator doors slid open. She stepped in alone, no one acknowledging her exit, but someone upstairs had seen it all. On the 9th floor, behind tinted windows, Daniel Pierce stood motionless. He'd been watching since the receptionist's call. He saw her subtle frown, Ethan's nervous tie adjustment. Daniel observed in silence, jaw clenched. Every word piped through the audio feed in the executive suite. 4 days prior, at 45, Daniel had sealed the acquisition of Harper Stone Associates. Quietly, no fanfare. Born in El Paso, educated in Seattle, he'd built tech consultancies into 8-figure enterprises. Now, he was testing the waters of his new investment. Daniel targeted Harper Stone for its potential, but noted its leadership lacked diversity. This wasn't just a deal, it was a chance to gauge his inheritance. No staged welcomes, no tipped-off staff. Laura agreed to interview without revealing her connection to him. He'd asked her to go in blind to see how they'd treat her. Now, he had his answer. "Replay the last minute," Daniel said. An analyst, Maya, tapped her keyboard. Sarah's clipped tone and Ethan's apathy echoed again, ending with, "We'll keep your info." Daniel stood silent, then pressed a wall panel. "HR in my office, 11:30, he said, voice even. The assistant on the line paused. "Which HR lead, sir?" "All of them." A beat. "Yes, sir." Dallas gleamed outside, a jet streaking the sky. Below, people moved through their routines, oblivious to the shift brewing upstairs. 2 board members sat in a side room, unaware a leadership overhaul was in motion. Daniel had spent his first 72 hours digging, emails, chats, hiring data, uncovering a clear pattern. For 7 years, mid- and senior-level hires followed a template. Same schools, same neighborhoods, same social circles. Different faces, identical mold. Daniel rarely spoke of his early days, but he'd faced this before. The subtle snubs, the coded doubts. They called it team fit. He called it lazy bias. He paced, then stopped. "Do we have the front desk footage?" "Yes," Mia replied. "I want it all. Audio, video, time-stamped, logged." "It'll be in your office in 15, she said. Daniel nodded, already moving. In the elevator, Daniel leaned back, eyes closed briefly. Not rage, but certainty. A piece clicking into place. He texted Laura. "Headed home soon, stay put." No reply yet. She likely needed space. He got it. But one thing was clear. If they thought they could judge her with a glance and a sneer, they'd soon learn what it meant to miscalculate. Upstairs, the clock was running, and not everyone would see the reckoning coming. Laura walked to the garage, steps heavy, not with anger, but something deeper. It was a weight, not fury, slowing her stride. Each step reverberated more in her mind than on the concrete. The elevator doors shut, sealing off the sterile lobby. By the time she reached her car, the morning's confidence felt distant. She slid into the driver's seat, door closing softly. No engine start, no phone check, just stillness. Sunlight sliced through the garage slats, striping the dashboard. Her hands rested in her lap, throat tight, no tears. In the rearview mirror, her makeup was flawless, yet she felt unseen. 20 years in branding, 7 major campaigns, 3 Fortune 500 clients. Never once had she been asked if she applied for the right role. Laura exhaled, slow and deliberate. She'd stepped away in 2021 when her mother's health declined, managing care with the precision she'd brought to boardroom pitches. After her mother passed last fall, Laura took 8 months to regroup, to rediscover herself. One evening, over dinner, she told Daniel, "I'm ready." He squeezed her hand. "Then take what's yours." And she set out to do just that. Laura spent weeks refining her resume, researching firms, and rebuilding her portfolio. She practiced mock interviews with old colleagues, studied market trends late at night, and targeted high-growth companies. Harper Stone topped her list, yet they hadn't truly seen her. Daniel's words from the night before echoed, "You know your value. They either recognize it or reveal themselves. Either way, you come out ahead." She'd laughed then, thinking he was just easing her nerves. Now, she saw how serious he'd been. Her phone pinged. Daniel's text. "Headed home soon, stay put." No punctuation, a sign he was focused. She considered calling, maybe sending a half-joking text. You called it. But something held her back. This wasn't done. Daniel wasn't just watching, he was strategizing. Laura grabbed her notebook from the passenger seat, opened it. On the first page, in her handwriting, "Your strength is your presence." She shut it, sat a moment longer, then started the car. No rush, no panic, just a quiet resolve as she pulled into the daylight. Oh, meanwhile, Ethan Walsh was biting into a turkey wrap when his phone buzzed. An internal memo. Mandatory HR meeting 11:30, 9th floor. Attendance required. He frowned, checked the sender, then the time. "Sarah," he called across the hall, mouth full. "You see this?" Sarah Hensley, adjusting her earrings in her office's window reflection, didn't turn. "Got it 10 minutes ago. Any clue what's up?" "Nope," Ethan said, shrugging. "Probably merger stuff." He returned to his desk, unbothered, assuming it was routine corporate noise. HR meetings were common. Policy updates, compliance briefings, surveys no one read. Ethan scrolled through emails, oblivious to the storm brewing. Across the building, a different scene unfolded behind a locked door. Daniel stood in a corner of the boardroom, arms crossed, face unreadable. Beside him was Mia, the analyst, and 2 HR leads, Carla Nguyen and Tom Reed, both looking uneasy, like they'd walked into a trap. "Do they know?" Daniel asked quietly. "They think it's paperwork," Mia said. He nodded. "Good." The clock ticked toward 11:30. At 11:27, Ethan strolled in, Sarah a minute behind, both chuckling over a client email typo. Their laughter faded when they saw the room. No slides, no agenda, just Daniel, still as stone. He didn't speak at first, letting the silence settle like dust. Sarah coughed lightly. "We weren't told what this is about," she said. "You will be," Daniel replied, his tone neutral but sharp. He nodded to Carla, who opened a folder, ready to lay out what they'd missed, or chosen not to see, in Laura's interview. Carla pulled out transcripts. "These are from this morning's 10 a.m. interview with Laura Mitchell, an external candidate," she began. Ethan blinked, confused. "I thought that was scrapped." "It wasn't," Carla said firmly. Tom, silent until now, added, "It was recorded and monitored per our new equity policy." Sarah shifted, her chair creaking. "Are we being called out for something?" Carla's gaze was steady. "You're getting a chance to explain why you dismissed a candidate who exceeded every qualification in the job listing." Ethan shrugged, assuming it was merger admin. "Probably just forms," he muttered. Sarah nodded, still fussing with her collar. Neither sensed the shift. In the boardroom, Daniel stood, expression blank. Mia, the analyst, sat ready, while Carla Nguyen and Tom Reed braced themselves. The air was thick, like a storm brewing. "Start," Daniel said. Carla slid the transcripts forward. "You questioned Laura Mitchell's fit, despite her exceeding the job's requirements," she said. Ethan's brow furrowed. Sarah's lips parted, but no words came. The room tightened. Sarah shifted uncomfortably. "Is this an accusation?" she asked. Carla's voice stayed even. "It's a chance to clarify." Daniel leaned forward. "You had a candidate who checked every box, surpassed them. Yet you asked if she applied correctly and claimed the role was filled." Ethan stammered. "We got a last-minute internal hire." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "After her interview started?" Silence. Tom spoke up. "The session was recorded, per our equity policy." Sarah's face paled. "We didn't know," she whispered, but the excuse felt hollow. Daniel's gaze was steady. "You didn't ask about her global campaigns or her proven results. You focused on a 2-year gap. explained clearly in her resume. Ethan's jaw tightened. We thought her experience was inconsistent. Sarah nodded. The gap raised questions. Daniel cut in. For caring for a dying parent? The room stilled. What else did you miss? Or what did you see that made you dismiss her in 12 minutes? Sarah looked away. Ethan's hands fidgeted. Neither had an answer that could hold up under scrutiny. Carla flipped a page. Your department's hiring records are under review. Every candidate you've hired, everyone you've passed on, we're digging in. Daniel added, next week's leadership announcement won't include you. Ethan's face flushed. This feels personal. It's systemic, Daniel said, unflinching. Excuses don't cut it. The silence was deafening. Meanwhile, Laura was back in the lobby. Her heels clicked steadily, no hesitation. A man in a gray suit approached. Ms. Mitchell, this way. She followed, sensing a shift, the air now charged with purpose. The private hallway was lined with awards, not the cold lobby's sterile sheen. The vibe was different, calmer, expectant. They stopped at a conference room, floor-to-ceiling windows framing Dallas's skyline. Daniel stood inside, his eyes scanning her for signs of strain. She gave a subtle nod, composed, ready. He turned to the table. 3 executives, a legal rep, and Carla from HR. This is Laura Mitchell, Daniel began, a branding expert with 20 years of high-impact work, someone your team dismissed 2 hours ago. Laura stood tall, unfazed. I'm here to set things straight, she said. I didn't apply for pity or a handout. I know my worth. Her voice was clear, steady. I stepped away to care for my mother. I don't regret it, and I won't justify it. Carla nodded slightly. An exec scribbled a note. I bring results, Laura continued. If you can't see that, it's your loss. The room hung on her words. Daniel stepped back, giving her the floor. She owned it, no apologies. Laura faced the legal representative. Companies talk inclusion, but it's not just optics. It's how you treat people when no one's watching. Her tone was firm, not accusing. Real equity shows in moments like this, not staged PR. The execs listened, attentive. One, Rachel Torres, leaned forward. Ms. Mitchell, I won't excuse this morning, but would you still lead here given the chance? Laura paused, letting the question settle. Not from doubt. She wanted the moment to carry its weight. The room waited, breath held, for her answer. I came for opportunity, Laura said. What I got was insight. I don't need a hesitant employer. I'm not a gamble. I'm a sure thing. Daniel's lips twitched, almost a smile. Rachel sat back, impressed. Laura turned to Daniel. We done? He nodded. Always. She walked out, head high. The hallway felt different now. Not new, but hers. Back in the boardroom, the execs sat stunned. Laura had exposed a flaw they couldn't ignore. Rachel broke the silence. We need to fix this, now. The next day, Harper Stone's email system buzzed. Subject, leadership transition and structural changes. Staff expected fluff. They got a jolt. Daniel Pierce, new CEO, introduced himself, not as a figurehead, but a hands-on owner with a sharp agenda. No vague promises. He listed specifics. Ethan Walsh and Sarah Hensley were out. Hiring practices faced a full audit. A third-party firm would handle recruitment during the review. Whispers spread fast. What went down? Merger drama? By noon, HR's floor was a tense, quiet maze. Daniel's door stayed open. No hiding. He'd made his call and stood by it. Harper Stone was known for cutting-edge work, but its leadership was a mirror image. Same background, same blind spots. That ended now. At 2:45 p.m., Rachel Torres entered Daniel's office. "She turned us down," she said. Daniel looked up. "Good." Rachel blinked. "She's worth more than a rushed offer," he said. "Let her carve her path. We gave her the spark." Rachel nodded, seeing his point, but the loss stung. Across town, Laura sat in a cozy cafe, laptop open, drafting a business plan. She'd decided 2 days ago she wasn't going back. After that interview, she left lighter, freer. Daniel hadn't pushed her to take the job, just asked what she wanted. She wanted her own stage. She'd already lined up 3 clients from her old network, contacts who'd whispered about consulting gigs. Now she was ready. Her firm, Horizon Pulse Strategies, would focus on authentic branding, amplifying overlooked voices. She smiled at the name. The barista slid a coffee over. "On the house, Miss Mitchell." Laura raised an eyebrow. "My cousin works at Harper Stone," the barista said. "Heard you owned that room." Laura smiled, accepting the cup. Outside, the sky glowed amber. While she built her future, Harper Stone scrambled to clean up its mess. That evening, Laura stood in her kitchen, chopping mint for iced tea. The house smelled of thyme from Daniel's grilled chicken. He walked in, ice clinking in his glass, and leaned against the counter watching her. "When I sent you in," Daniel said, "it wasn't to test you." Laura kept chopping. "I know. You were testing them." He chuckled. "Didn't expect them to flop that bad, not on camera." "You always think people will do better," she said, tossing mint into the pitcher. They saw what they wanted, a quick out. Daniel rested a hand on her shoulder. "But you? You didn't waver." She smirked. "Still doesn't mean quiet." The room settled, not heavy, just full. A shared understanding. No need for more words. Laura poured tea, handing him a glass. "They offered the job, didn't they?" Daniel nodded. "And I said I had something better." He raised an eyebrow. "Horizon Pulse Strategies," she said. "It's mine." He sipped, thoughtful. "Bold, clean. You." She paused, stirring her drink. "Will it matter? One woman, one small firm?" Daniel leaned back. "It's not about headlines. Change starts in rooms like that, when someone holds the line and doesn't let excuses slide. That's where it counts." Laura stared at the steam curling from her glass. "Ever think," she said, "the ones who preach patience are just hoping we'll stay silent?" Daniel met her gaze, saying nothing. She didn't need an answer. The moment hung, raw and real. Her phone buzzed. A message from a former colleague at Crestwood Consulting, asking if she was taking clients. She grinned, typing back. Not playing small anymore. "Let's talk results." The kitchen felt alive, not with noise but with clarity. A new chapter taking shape. Back at Harper Stone, the fallout continued. Emails piled up, staff traded theories. Was it the merger? No, something with that interview. Daniel sat in his office, reviewing hiring data. He wasn't here to soothe egos. Change was messy but necessary. Rachel stopped by again. "We're losing good people if we don't act fast," she said. Daniel nodded. "Then act, but don't expect Laura to fix it for us." She left, the weight of his words sinking in. Laura wasn't theirs to claim anymore. Laura's cafe table was now her command center. She finalized her firm's mission. Real stories, real impact, no tokenism. Her phone lit up, another client inquiry. She'd waited for no one's permission. Daniel had given her space, not a script. Horizon Pulse was her vision, built on her terms. She typed a response, fingers steady. The barista waved as she packed up. "Keep shaking things up," he said. Laura nodded, stepping into the evening. Dallas hummed around her, unaware of the force she was becoming. At home, Laura stirred honey into her tea, the kitchen warm with leftover spices. Daniel scrolled his phone nearby. "Got a message from Pinnacle Group," he said. "They heard you're back." She laughed. "Tell them I don't do back, I do forward." He grinned, typing the reply. The quiet wasn't empty. It was charged, like the air before a storm breaks. Laura sipped her tea, mind racing with plans. Horizon Pulse wasn't just a name. It was a promise she'd keep, no compromises. The doorbell chimed softly. Laura answered, finding Rachel Torres holding a folder. "I didn't want to email this," Rachel said. "It's an official acknowledgement of the interview with a board-signed apology." Laura didn't take it. "Paper doesn't fix trust," she said. Rachel nodded. "I know, but we see you now." Laura's gaze was steady. "Seeing's a start. Acting's what matters." Rachel hesitated, then added, "They're rattled, not by you, by exposure." Laura gave a faint nod, closing the door without a word. Back in the kitchen, Daniel looked up. "What was that?" "Their attempt at amends," Laura said, sliding into her chair. "Too late." He smirked. "You didn't need their apology." She stirred her tea. "Nope. I needed their mirror." The room settled again, not tense but alive with purpose. Laura's phone buzzed. A potential client from her old network. She typed a quick reply, already mapping her next move. Horizon Pulse was gaining traction, and she was just getting started, no permission required. Daniel leaned back, glass in hand. "You're building something real," he said. "Not just a firm, a shift." Laura met his eyes. "It's what I've always done, just louder now." He nodded, pride in his silence. She glanced at her notebook, the words, "Your strength is your presence," still scrawled inside. They weren't just a mantra, they were her truth. The world outside kept turning, but in that kitchen Laura was writing her own rules, and no one could look past her now. The evening deepened, Dallas's skyline glittering beyond their window. Laura stood, rinsing her glass, mind still on Horizon Pulse. Daniel watched, knowing she'd already outgrown the room that tried to shrink her. "They'll feel this," he said quietly. She turned, drying her hands. "They already are." The air hummed with certainty. Not loud, but unshakable. Laura wasn't chasing validation. She was claiming space. And while Harper Stone grappled with its cracks, she was building something new, something that wouldn't bend to anyone's doubts. Rachel handed over the folder. "It's an apology letter and a board statement," she said. Laura didn't reach for it. "Words don't rebuild trust," she replied, voice calm but firm. Rachel swallowed. "We know it's not enough, but we're listening." Laura's eyes held steady. "Listening's step one, action's the proof." Rachel paused, then added, "They're shaken, not by you, by the truth." Laura nodded faintly, closing the door. The kitchen's warmth greeted her return, a contrast to the sterile lobby she'd left behind. Daniel glanced up from his phone. What did they want? "To apologize on paper," Laura said, settling at the table. "I told them to do better." He smirked. "They're learning." Her phone buzzed, a contact from Vertex Solutions, asking about her new firm. She typed back, "Horizon Pulse is open for business. Let's talk impact." The room felt full, not with noise, but with purpose. Laura wasn't chasing closure. She was building power, her way. No compromises, no shrinking. Laura and Daniel sat, tea steaming between them. The quiet was alive, clear, chosen. She didn't rant or broadcast her win, she acted. Horizon Pulse was her door, built on her terms. If her story stirs you, share it. Someone's being overlooked right now, waiting to be seen. Follow for more tales that peel back the surface, showing what true strength looks like. Calm, unyielding, and owned. Laura's not just a name, she's a shift, and her work's just begun. Laura Mitchell's journey through the glass-paneled halls of Harper Stone Associates in downtown Dallas crackles with the kind of tension that lingers like static before a storm. Her story, a blaze of resilience against a backdrop of corporate indifference, offers two searing lessons. First, true strength lies in owning your worth, even when others refuse to see it. Laura, at 38, strode into that interview with a leather portfolio and 20 years of branding triumphs, her heels echoing assurance on polished tile. Yet, Sarah Hensley and Ethan Walsh, with their skeptical glances and dismissive questions, saw only a 2-year gap, not the woman who'd led campaigns from Tokyo to Sao Paulo. They tried to shrink her, but Laura didn't flinch. In the boardroom, facing executives, she declared, "I'm not a gamble, I'm a sure thing," her voice slicing through their silence. Her refusal to beg for validation, choosing instead to launch Horizon Pulse strategies, proves that South-Bell 38 miles from Austin's shimmering skyline, Laura built her own table rather than wait for a seat at theirs. Second, change sparks when you expose bias and demand accountability. Daniel Pierce, watching from the 9th floor, didn't just acquire Harper Stone. He dismantled its comfort bias. His acquisition wasn't just a deal, it was a reckoning. When he replayed the interview's audio, Ethan's apathy and Sarah's sarcasm echoed, exposing a hiring pattern of same schools, same zip codes. By auditing HR and ousting the culprits, Daniel turned whispers into a wake-up call. Laura's stand and Daniel's action forced a company to face its mirror, proving that real inclusivity isn't a press release. It's a fight, one in rooms where truth refuses to shrink. What's your story of rising above doubt to claim your worth? Share below, like, and comment to spark this conversation. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more gripping tales like Laura Mitchell's, where resilience and truth shatter barriers. Join our community to uncover inspiring stories that deliver real value and remind us what strength looks like. Calm, unyielding, and unstoppable. Hit that subscribe button now.